Partly the biz dev guy for the regulatory toolbox. I want to talk about two tools that you can use to better understand U.S. customs requirements for general aviation. Number one being Coffee with Customs. It's a monthly webinar put on by the General Aviation Program Managers. The of that interaction is what you see there behind me, which is the CBP General Aviation Lifecycle. The General Aviation Lifecycle is something developed over the last decade to take what is inherently a non-standardized process arriving into U.S. Customs. It seems like it should be standardized. There's approximately 400 different ports across the United States that all have very different needs, very different staffing for the types of cargo, vehicles, vessels that they might clear, different individual port procedures. So this has been a challenge across the general aviation landscape for some time, but the focus on what parts of this process are standardized and what can an aircraft operator do when arriving into U.S. Customs to set themselves up for success. We settled on was this life cycle, and it really breaks the whole process down into 4 different quadrants. One, preparing for the notional trip, doing feasibility, so really understanding who you are as an operator, understanding what the capabilities are that you might need, the type of regulations for the vessel, the aircraft operator, the travelers you may have on board, the ports you want to operate to. Quadrant 2 is pre-flight. So that's when an actual trip, a mission comes into scope and you start planning for a specific location and the alternates around there, getting things like the airport fact sheet, reaching out to U.S. Customs, making landing rights request. There's different lead times required, different capabilities at the ports, different processes. It's all detailed in those airport fact sheets. They cannot standardize the ports, but they can standardize the way that they communicate about them. That third quadrant is going to be the day of ops when you go live, the actual arrival into customs. What are the best practices there? On time and within tolerance. Ports have different tolerance times that allow you to deviate from your schedule and still maintain your landing rights request. If you deviate in manifest, deviate in time, deviate in aircraft tail or the aircraft type, operator name, all of these different things could pull your previous landing rights and require new landing rights. Best practices for how you deal with officers, the type of information, the paperwork and things that you should have on you, and what you can expect on the ramp with customs, what you can do if things don't go as expected. And then last, of course, like with anything in business aviation or aviation in general, recap. You follow up U.S. Customs directly if there was an issue. Just having that conversation, that feedback loop within your operation. What worked well? What didn't work so well? Anything related to our access and flexibility? Was there anything that we needed to communicate more clearly or with more advanced notice to Customs to make our arrival go smoother? Using this life cycle is going to improve your outcomes, and we've seen it across the system, improved outcomes for business aviation. We've rolled this out and talked about it so much detail at industry events, these Coffee with Customs webinars, and then of course GA program managers directly to operators when they have questions. GA Processing Lifecycle is available on the General Aviation Processing page on cbp.gov. I encourage you to go and download it. If you have any questions, let me know.